I will start with pronunciation. It will be hard for non-English speaker because it's mate. The name comes from South America. And I start with the history of this project. The latest release of GNOME 2 was in September of 2010, and the year later it came out in GNOME 3, and it was a completely different desktop environment. And not all users of GNOME 2 like this desktop. So in April, Kerberos, an Arch Linux user, started a fork, calling it Mate. And the first description of the project was an active desktop using traditional computing metaphor. And also, if the project was really an hack, because it was based off a migrate script, just replacing all known occurrences in the code with Mate. So it was not so good code. But also, if this was not good, the first distribution started to include Mate, the distribution that were not happy with GNOME 3, like Linux Mint or Salix, started to release the Mate in their repositories, and also Mate edition in their DVD. This brought to a new community because it was a new project. Nobody from GNOME was present in this community. So we started to prepare the website, wiki, forum, IRC channels, mailing list, and development is hosted on GitHub. You can ask why Mate if there are so many alternatives. GNOME 3, the classic mode, the Flashback edition, LXDE, XFCE. But the reason is all the alternatives are not really like GNOME 2. We wanted to keep GNOME 2 with all its features, with all its applications. So this is the main reason. Classic mode requires new hardware because it's based on 3D, and Flashback mode is just the panel and the applets, because the other applications are the same of GNOME 3, and they have received a lot of changes in the interface. And of course, LXDE and XFCE are different desktops. They are LXDE now is switching to Qt, and XFCE is different desktop, different file manager, different panels, different philosophy. The past year we got the 1.6 release. It's our idea of GNOME 2.34. It was a missing release. We removed all obsolete text from Mate, like gconf, bonobo, and we replaced all this technology with the new libraries that now are in glib or in GTK. We started to add systemd support to Mate because it was missing in GNOME 2. We did a lot of bug fixes. We solved some bugs that they were present in GNOME 2 from years. We added only small new features because our idea is to keep the traditional desktop. So we are adding to Mate only small features. And we also added the new themes with GTK3 support to keep compatibility with all applications that distribution can provide. So we provide themes that support both GTK2 and GTK3 using the same graphic. This release is the result of 8 months of development. 1,800 commits by 39 people, and we have also 150 translators that are translating Mate in Transifex. We use Transifex to manage translations. New features in 1.6 are the option to center new windows like GNOME 3. We added new arguments to the panel, like the reset command argument to have to bring the panel to the default configuration, and also an argument to run dialog, because if user use other window managers in this way, they can set the shortcut to open the run dialog. We added the feature to close the windows with the middle click on the bottom bar. We added new themes to notification daemon. We added support for the Empress specification to manage multimedia keys, because most of media applications are using Empress or the GNOME debug specification. So supporting Empress, all media players now work with Mate. And we also added support for Compits and MetaCity, the GNOME window manager. So if users change theme in control center, the theme of Compits or MetaCity will be changed too if they are running. These are the new features in the file manager, Kaha. We added the Andorido feature. Before then GNOME added it in Nautilus 3. We restored the edit location button on the bar. It was removed in the latest GNOME 2 release. And we also added a button to show differences when the user tries to replace text files. This is a small overview of new themes of Mate 1.6. This is called Menta. We added also a standard black theme, Black Mate. This is Green Laguna. It's similar to Menta but with darkest bars. The 1.6 success brought Mate in almost all distributions like Arch Linux, Debian, Fedora, Mint, OpenSUSE, and so on. And Mate is also packaged in non-Linux distributions like BSD and others. And the new community now has about 90 people, average on the first channel on IRC. We have 10 contributors that write code for Mate. And we have a lot of members in the official forum, and also 380 members on G+ community. So it's not so big, but not so small community. The past year we got a student under Fedora umbrella for the Google Summer of Code. He worked on adding support for GTK3 on Mate, and we are receiving a lot of donations from users that are using Mate from small companies. For example, we got a dedicated server from a German company, Fiscolo, that is using Mate in their offices. This is the main goal of the Mate project, is to keep the traditional desktop metaphor, like GNOME 2. And we will continue to develop this desktop, keeping it traditional with new small features. We will fix bugs, and we will support new libraries like systemd and Wayland, or all the new software that will be written in future. The other goal is to be an alternative for lower-end hardware, because not all hardware support not all hardware support every desktop, because to run GNOME 3 now you should have a powerful hardware. So we will always keep compatibility with lower-end hardware such as Raspberry or ARM device and old computers and so on. We also created a package called Mate University, where we are adding code examples to learn how to develop extensions for Mate, like panel applets, extension for the file manager, plugins for the text editor or the image viewer, etc. Also, this project is hosted on GitHub. Now I will talk about the future of Mate. First, we will add support for GTK3 and Wayland. I am talking about support because it will be not a complete migration, but we will support GTK3. It means that distribution maintainers can compile Mate with GTK2 or GTK3. It will be their choice. They can choose also to make available two versions of Mate with both GTK versions. We will complete the support for systemd. I am always talking about support because systemd will be not a dependency, but it will be always optional. We will keep always also console kit because not all distribution use systemd now. We will add also support for the new GStreamer release, for account service, the new Bluetooth specifications. We will add a plugin system for the file manager, because the current system of extensions, it means that you have to restart the file manager to enable new extensions. You can't disable the extensions now. If you have one extension installed, you will have it activated every time. So adding a plugin system, users will be able to enable or disable plugins at runtime. We will remove the latest useless forks, and we will use GNOME equivalents, because now we started also a collaboration with the GNOME developers. They realized that now Mate is an alternative, so we are working together to remove as much forks as possible and use GNOME equivalents, like the Keyring daemon, or libraries like GWeather or WNCK, YL tools for the documentation. Some things of this list are already implemented in the unstable release of Mate, like the removal of the forks or the initial support for GTK3. There will be also some new features in 1.8, like window snapping in the window manager. Users will be able with mouse to maximize window on the left, on the right, or full screen. We will add support for EPUB format in the document viewer. We developed the new applets for the panel, like a command. It shows the output of a command in the panel, or a new timer applet. We will improve the search mode in the file manager. We will fix the accessibility with using Orca from GNOME. And we will also implement a lot of small things that users are asking us in our tracker. You can check the status of the roadmap in our wiki. We are also keeping alive the GNOME main menu, that it was the default menu in OpenSUSE. The nice thing is that we are keeping it alive in the GNOME infrastructure, because this menu was left by GNOME, so we are developing it under the GNOME Git repository. And it will be the default menu in the next OpenSUSE release with Mate, to keep alive the full GNOME 2 experience in OpenSUSE. Mate, like I told before, is also packaged for Raspberry. It runs very well. The Raspbian is the default distribution. It provides Mate already on their repositories. LTSP, the Linux Terminal Server project, is also interested in Mate, because not all their hardware support GNOME 3, GTK3, so some developers from LTSP are helping us too. And you can check in this link the small presentation of LTSP with Mate by a LTSP developer. Recently, Mate was included in Debian 2. This is interesting. It's the graph of Popcorn, the stats of Debian.
Yeah, we are running out of time, so if someone has a quick question, maybe? I see questions. Thank you for your presentation. And if you have some other question, you can chat with Stefano just here outside.